like I fought all my life for this. This one part, this 1/3 I've always missed. No, just don't let it go. I started the fight, but now I'm losing. So will I fall again? I'm scared of heights, yet it was me who ran away. So will I fall again? Oh, I can't forget myself. The piece that I'm missing, it kills me inside. I need help, oh please give me back. This one part, this 1/3, I'm sorry I lost it. No, I let my weapons fall, I'm drowning in the fears and now I will fall again and let it go, but I can't stop to love.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Alliance live show number 94. We're rocking and rolling all Easter long. We have an interesting show for you today. We're going to kind of discuss some of the drama that's gone on over the last few days in regards to the Anakin rework and the refunds or non-refunds or how that's going to work with Sith Assassin. We're going to talk about that and just kind of the community sentiment about what's been going on in the game over the last couple of weeks since the release of Malik and Darth Revan and what that means going forward. As usual, we will always do our top 5 and our Q&A a bit later in the show. But first and foremost, let me introduce my co-hosts, my bestest buddy in the galaxy and esteemed colleague here, good old Maurice from Operation Metaverse. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing well.
Excellent, excellent. And I'm also joined by Avinash. How you doing, Avi?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
Of course, as always. So, yeah, I mean, guys, let's dive in here. A couple things I want to touch on are, first and foremost, the reworked Anakin. So have you guys both gotten Anakin to Gear 12? And, you know, how do you feel about him so far since the update?
I've got him Gear 12. I've got him maxed out as far as I can. I mean, I already had him that way anyway, so I didn't really have to do much. But he's fun to play with. I really like him on the Revan team. And he does take down Darth Malik very nicely and does a lot of damage. But I also find he's not that hard to take down when I'm up against him either. So it's kind of 6 1, half dozen the other. I haven't played him that much. I'm mostly having fun with my Malik. So.
What about you, Maurice? How do you like Anakin?
About as much as I did before the rework.
so I guess I'm guessing you haven't
that good. Yes.
I'm guessing you haven't really messed around with him too much.
I mean, I have. He's just he's a lot better. He's definitely a top Jedi now, like he should be. You know, he should be a good character in the game.
Do you think that the hype train is right? I mean, do you think that all the backlash or the feedback from the community about him being now OP and kind of a problem that needs to be fixed because of the fact that he can beat Malik on offense is an issue? I mean, do you think that they need to touch him again?
No, I think no. This is what the community says about every single new character that's released. They're overpowered and need to be nerfed. That's what they complain about. Every character, we do too. But I mean, it's just, I think he's fine. He's not a long-term solution to Malik. He's not gonna, he might be a solution to 5-star Malik. But if anybody has, and Vistar was talking about here in the chat a few minutes ago, if you guys haven't fought a 7-star Malik, Anakin's probably not going to cut it.
Yeah, he doesn't cut him down that fast. I've got a 12, gear 12.
12-star, 12-star Malik.
12-star, yeah, there we go, yeah.
He is a lot better. A lot better. Actually, it's just everyone looked at his kid initially. It was like, oh, he doesn't look like he got that much. But I don't think the community, and myself maybe included, didn't really understand how big of an impact it was from gaining 100% turn meter to getting a bonus turn. So like he'll get that bonus turn regardless of if he's dazed. I was actually fighting an Anakin in my Grand Arena day. He will get that bonus turn if he's isolated as well. So there's no way you can stop his bonus turn. No daze, no shock, no isolates, fracture. I don't know. I'm not sure if anybody knows the answer to that. I haven't fought an Anakin with Thrawn yet, but it's a very, very good rework. And I think Ahsoka's rework can be very good. I just don't think the community has too much. Not too many people have a really decked out Gear 12 Ahsoka as of right now. Next week it'll be different, but
right.
Ahsoka and Kenobi need Zetas for this team to really thrive and be competitive. I think if you put a Zeta on those two, then yeah, you might have a counter to Malik. It's not going to hold defensively for you in arena, but it's that's what we need now. Counters for Malik and Revan. It's lots changed in the last week.
Well, in my opinion, I think that it's just right. I mean, I'm kind of happy that there is an alternative to having just a Darth Malik team, because even though it's going to be Revan versus Revan, which is still kind of, I mean, it is what it is, whatever. I didn't think they needed to change what they did to Palpatine either. I think that it would be nice to see like a Palpatine Revan meta, because at least it'd be like, I mean, even though it's all Sith and Empire, whatever, it would at least be a little bit more interesting. I mean, we'll get into the meta report a little bit later, and you'll see where it's at now. It's going to make you want to throw up a little bit, but it is what it is. I personally don't think that every time a character comes out, or every time, character comes out and it costs money, he stinks, and we need to, they need to fix him because he's not good enough. A character comes out and he works on the first day he works. He's too OP and they need to nerf him. It's, first of all, they've for the longest time, they never nerfed anything. I mean, they would just release new characters, and the newer characters were better, and that's it. And that's always been the case. I mean, I've never even seen them reduce statistics on a character before. I mean, the only time, I can tell you this straight up, that I've ever seen them adjust the speed to a character in the history of this game was when they changed pose speed by 1. Back in the day. Do you remember that? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
They nerfed pose speed by 1 just so that Qui-Gon Jinn would go first. This is before speed actually worked as intended. For those of you that remember, when the game first came out, speed was not working the way it was supposed to. It was they were different. There was turn 1, turn 2. There were certain brackets in which it was kind of a roll of the dice, and RNG would depend on whether you went first or not. You know what I'm saying? And they eventually fixed it when they fixed Qui-Gon Jinn and his speed leader, which actually wasn't working at the time when it first came out. You weren't getting the bonuses. he gave speed to Grandmaster Yoda. This is around the time that Grandmaster Yoda came out. He gave speed. They also reworked Ahsoka, which is coincidentally, they're reworking this. This is the next time they've given any adjustment to Ahsoka. They reworked Ahsoka at that time, giving her the speed bonus on her unique, which made her from the slowest character in the entire game to now able to actually be fast. So back then, I would go Yoda first, Ahsoka second, and then Qui-Gon. So you'd have all those three characters going first before anybody else. And this is before mods, before anything. So every character went the same speed. You know what I mean? So if you had Ahsoka and she was at the highest gear level, that was her speed, right? So that, you know, there was no adjusting that. You know, so it was It was one of those things where, you know, they've never made adjustments like that ever, and they've always just made kind of reworks according to the abilities, and I kind of like that. I mean, I like that they don't really change the base stats. Some characters, you know, it'd be nice to see like a speed increase to like General Grievous or, you know, a couple other characters out there. I mean, I think Ahsoka, first of all, shouldn't be the slowest character in the game. I mean, she's pretty nimble and quick in the lore and in the history of Star Wars, so I think that she should be a faster character overall, to be honest with you, but anyway, I'm getting off topic here. The point is, I think that Jedi Anakin is pretty good where he's at. He should be a good Jedi. He should not be behind the pack when it comes to these other Jedi. Oh, Midnight Express is coming through again. But no, I mean, as far as that goes, I think he's right where he should be. And Ahsoka looks pretty good. I mean, honestly, I kind of like Ahsoka's kit even better than Anakin's, and I haven't gotten a chance to try her out yet. She's still at gear 10, so I need to get her up a little bit more so I can get an idea of how good she'd be. But and there is that possibility. I mean, again, if you're sticking days on Ahsoka, she's pretty much useless at that point. But you know, if you have the right composition around her, maybe with a Jedi Knight Revan lead, and maybe with her and Anakin in the background there somewhere, I don't know. Maybe you can make it work. I don't know. What do you think? I mean, what do you think would be the best optimum way to incorporate Anakin and Ahsoka into a squad right now?
Well, first of all, you have to have a Zeta on Ahsoka. If you do put that Zeta on Ahsoka, she is then permanently married to a Galactic Republic leader. And right now, I mean, that could be, she has a leader herself. It's kind of underwhelming. But, you know, Anakin does have an offensive leadership. Kenobi's got a defensive leadership. You've got all these old Galactic Republic characters like Yoda. A lot of people that put that Zeta on Yoda when they reworked him, you know, you might get some use out of it. Qui-Gon Jinn could become useful again, just for the speed of the offense. Ahsoka's going to hit even harder because she can't triple tap. I think I don't have her done, but I think if it's Kenobi's present, she attacks again. If Anakin's present, she attacks a third time. So I mean, all that offense that Qui-Gon provides could be beneficial there. It'll be very interesting to see. For Arena, you know, Revan is probably going to be the best Jedi leader. Neither Jedi Bastila or Jedi Revan have the Galactic Republic synergy, though, unfortunately. But if you don't have that Zeta on Ahsoka, you could use her there. 3 versus 3, I think it's going to be the three of them: Kenobi, Anakin, and Ahsoka, which is going to force you to gear up some sort of other Jedi tank for your other team. So that'll be interesting to see what the people come up with. You know, I'm not going to have Zetas to put in this team for a long, long time. So,
yeah, no, I agree. It's going to definitely need a Zeta on Ahsoka, and it's going to need the right team around her, too. And it may not be an arena thing, you know. Not every team that comes out of every character rework necessarily means they're going to be instantly arena meta. And I think that's kind of an expectation thing that we have, too. Like, every time they rework a character like Grievous or something like that, he's going to instantly jump to the top of the arena and dominate the scene. And in some cases, a character should. Again, Anakin is the entire reason that we have this game, okay? Anakin is Star Wars, okay? Anakin is, the entire story is about Anakin's rise and fall, okay? So he's, if not the most important character in the game, one of the most important characters in the game. So he should be at the forefront of the meta at least most of the time, okay? And he's been really not for a very long time. And I think that there are characters that should see daylight, and then things should change. Bear in mind, this game is pretty fair when it comes to nerfing characters and moving things on. They just tend to make a bigger, better character, and then have that character before be kind of obsolete, or at least just kind of taken a notch down. Like Traya was so dominant, and then she was taken a notch down by Jedi Knight Revan, and then Jedi Knight Revan is super dominant, and now he's still good, but he's just been taken a notch down by Darth Revan, and that's the way this game works. In other games, they will just straight up nerf the character. Like, you will not be able to use the character anymore in any kind of competitive match ever again. And I keep going back to Power Rangers, because that's another game that I play, and I know you guys probably all hate Power Rangers, but that's just my thing that I play, and I'm telling you that in that game, and I only use this as a base of comparison because it's a game that I play heavily and I also invest in, and I buy characters and they're great, and then when a new character comes out, they will just straight up reduce the damage of the character before, they will increase the cost of his abilities, they will just make it so that character cannot beat characters anymore. They will straight up nerf the character, especially if it's a character that's very highly used, they see that everybody's using this character, they'll make him free to play, everybody gets him, and then as soon as he gets really good, they nerf the character, and then they sell a new character that has low cost moves and has super high damage, and they sell the character at that cost, with those abilities, and then you have a 2-month honeymoon period with that character where you can enjoy an OP character, and then they will nerf the crap out of that character right after that. You know what I'm saying? And that's just how it is. And in this game, that doesn't happen. They just kind of make it so that, the next character that you buy is just better. And maybe that's to the game's detriment. And we've talked about this before in the past. How involved are these kits now? How intense are the verbiage in these kits, and how many mechanics have to work for these characters to be dominant. If you just look at the wall of text in the newer characters in comparison to the original characters of the game, it's just progressively gotten more intense as time goes on, and you wonder, when the game's at its end, let's say a few years from now or whatever, how intense are these kits going to be at that point in order to defeat these characters? Let's say, 2 years from now, Jedi Knight Revan's kit is going to look like a weak kit in comparison to something else. Let's say, Jedi Master Luke comes out, from Return of the Jedi, and his kit is going to have to be absolutely ridiculous to beat any of these characters. You're going to have Sith, will not take damage from Sith, just crazy things in there, so I'm curious to see how they do this, because they've kind of they pigeonholed themselves into this because the way they do it, but I kind of think it's fairer. It's more fair to do it this way than to just straight up take an investment that you've made and say, okay, here, your Jedi Knight Revan now is 30 speed less, and his damage has been reduced by 20%, and on top of that, here we're going to remove this from his kit, so he no longer can ignore taunt, or something like that, and that's what would happen in other games. So I kind of prefer it this way, to be honest with you. But
yeah, and that's the thing. I don't know. It's a Star Wars based community, so the community is already passionate, about not only the game but the Star Wars, and just about Star Wars in general. I think this game has a large sector of people that play this game because of Star Wars, not because of the type of game it is. And you touched on it. I've played several games, just weekly updates and weekly nerfs and buffs to characters on a whim. And they can be brand new characters. They can just completely just destroy a character, make a character great just instantly. And it rarely happens in this game. It's been happening a lot recently. But it's gotten to the point, guys, where at some point it's going to fall on us, the community. Fool me once, fool me twice, fool me 3 times, fool me 4 times. How many times can we really get upset about this stuff over and over and over again? When they release something new, it's to the point now where it's to be expected that something is going to change. And I think that's kind of the mindset everybody needs to have moving forward. So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I just don't. I'm not really that riled up about anything that's happened this last week. I mean, but simply because I've played other games. There's a reason thousands of people flocked from this game to go play Marvel Strike Force, and then came right back. There's a reason. Like you mentioned, your Power Rangers game. This game is not. It's pretty player base friendly, like you said, compared to many other games out there.
Yeah, it gets to a point where, if they're changing a character like Anakin, I don't immediately start going after it to gear it up or to get the best mods on it or to put the G12 or G12.5 on there. I kind of wait and see what happens. I'm happy to kind of sit back and see all these people going nuts over it. And I'm like, I'm just going to bide my time and find out what it ends up doing. Is it going to be still a glass cannon, or is it going to be a meta breaker? But I'm willing to sit back and find out what happens.
Anakin is just fine. I don't think they need to adjust him.
He's easy to kill when he's on defense too. So
yeah, I mean he's better than he was. He's by no means the best character in the game,
right?
And I'm reading his post here about Anakin. It says we have a small sample size. Blah 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 blah. Let's see. What's up? It says, additionally, we've been monitoring the forums and Reddit, noticed the performance of Jedi Anakin relative to some Darth Malak teams. We only have a limited number of cases to evaluate. Now, if one of those limited number of cases to evaluate is somebody like Jedi Master Adastra, who is the Master of the Jedi and can beat probably any team with her Jedi, that's probably not, the best sample. Like, I mean, if people that have really decked out Anakins and modded really well Jedi teams, if that's their sample, I don't think that means they need to change it. I mean, if somebody goes in there and their Anakin's, 120 speed slower than the opposing team and Anakin's just wasting the team, that's different. I mean, it's an AoE attacker with a damage boost against a bunch of characters that get defense penalties from ferocity. Of course he's going to hit hard. That's just any AoE. You could bring in old school Lando. And he'll AoE for a ton of damage too. It doesn't mean that he's broken. It just means that they built this ferocity mechanic, and this is perhaps how you beat it. Big AoE damage, because everyone's going to be 10, 15 stacks of ferocity. Get yourself some AoE. I mean, Anakin is a great example. I think he's fine. I went on a tangent and started rambling there.
Yeah, the Darth Revan is kind of like wearing layer after layer of heavy armor, but forgot to put his protective underwear on.
Yeah.
There's no defense to that.
Yes, mustache Lando. Indeed.
Mustache Lando, indeed. Yeah. But I agree. I think that people typically do panic based upon some initial interactions when characters come out, and I think that they have a right to. Okay, there's nothing wrong with that. Okay, but what I'm saying is that the studio should know better and understand that there is going to be this backlash. I mean, there has not been a single thing that's happened that's big time in this game where there wasn't a large faction of the community that did not like it or did like it, or vice versa. I mean, it's one of those things where I feel like a lot of these game studios these days, because of negative press, they kind of jump on things and, make knee-jerk reactions and change things in the game based upon player feedback, and they should do that after testing it, which they should be doing anyway, but I'm saying after they let it sit for a little while. I mean, like, for example, if you're reworking Anakin and, you just released a pay-to-play character, and a week and a half later, you see that Anakin is literally dominating the charts. Okay, you look at the meta report, you see Anakin's all over it. Then there's cause for really diving into it and kind of seeing what you can do to make things more equal, or whatever. Work the way you intended it to work. But what I'm saying, whatever that expectation is for yourself. But what I'm saying is, what ends up happening is there's this need to address things right away. And I do believe that they should reach out to the community and give feedback right away. Like, they should say, hey, listen, We are monitoring the character and seeing how things are going over the next few days. If any adjustments are needed to be made, you need to know that we will do that at that time. And if they did this for an extended period of time and showed the community that they were, quick to respond, they were looking at how, things were working in the wild, and then they would make adjustments based on what made sense, let's say, after a couple weeks of looking at some real hard data, then I think the community would have more faith in what's going to happen, or you're going to go based upon past experiences. I mean, they fixed mods after a day. Remember that?
Yeah.
I mean, it was the people went bananas, and they literally did. They didn't let it play out for a week and say, "Hey, listen, let everybody calm down. Let's see what happens after they play with these mods for a couple of days." They literally, the next day, they went in there. They were like, "Whoa, guys, we're gonna nerf it." You know what I'm saying? I mean, it was like just a knee jerk. And I wish we had those mods. It was much more fun when.
Yeah.
I don't know about that. That was ridiculous. The way mods were, it just rendered all the gear you invested absolutely worthless.
Having like a 400,000 health, tank.
Yeah. My gear 4 scavenger ray. I don't need a gearer because I've got mods that give her 800 offense. It's just
right. Yeah.
I guess you're right in that sense. Yeah. I mean, I'm just saying that no matter what happens, it's best to kind of sit back. It's always best whenever you make any decision in your life to sit back and see, all the data, and then just kind of take a look at what other games would do in this circumstance, or what other people would do in this circumstance. Get feedback from people, like have a Q&A and see what people think about it, and then make a decision, an educated decision, based upon all of the information that you've gathered. It doesn't make sense to just jump out and say, "Oh, this has to be fixed," and just nerf it, or just make a small adjustment. I think that jumping out and fixing that Palpatine thing a week ago is kind of, I didn't like it, to be honest with you. And I think that this whole thing, because all they did was create a new problem. Right now, people are upset about Sith Assassin. So people were upset about Palpatine, and now you're getting people upset about Sith Assassin. I just feel like ultimately you're always going to create a new issue if you don't do your due diligence and make an educated decision. And I think that if they had waited a little bit and not just made, "Oh, well, Sith can't gain turn meter." I mean, that's, first of all, that's such a ridiculous fix. I mean, like, there could have been so many other ways to fix that. I mean, we could go into the whole Finn thing and how they fixed Finn and how that could have been avoided too. They took their time with that one, don't get me wrong, but I'm saying, like, I just feel like sometimes it's best to kind of sit back and reflect a little bit before you just jump in and make a move like that. So, we'll have to see. But, I mean, that kind of leads me into our next topic of conversation. I want to dive in on the whole Sith Assassin thing and kind of talk about what's going on with her. So, have they said that they're officially going to be giving back the gear? I mean, is that actually out there, or like what's going on?
It's out there. Yes, it is out there.
Okay.
There's no specific date, because I'm sure that they're going to probably be doing a little bit at a time, or I should say a block of people at a time. They're not going to be able to do it all at once. And anybody who has geared her after March 20th, when they kind of raised her up and geared her and all that stuff, will, from what I understand, is going to be getting that gear back. If you had geared her up and leveled her up before that, you're SOL in that aspect of it. And if you start gearing her now to try to see if you can get some extra gear back, no, that's not going to work either, because I think they kind of maybe had a cutoff or something in that aspect of it, because you might not get it back because it might not show up in their files, I guess, or whatever they might do.
Well, it looks like Ramon's safe. It looks like Ramon might get a MP4 laptop back.
Hopefully they give me my 20 laptops back. Yeah.
But this could be a nightmare, because I don't know. I don't get upset about much in this game, but if these players that invested in it, I understand why they're doing it. There was a guy in my guild the other day. He put the 2 Gear 12 Plus pieces on her, because a lot of people were using Sith Assassin as to their advantage in making her lightning fast and neglecting mods and the other characters like Bastila, who's very important to go fast. Maybe they don't have super depth to put speed on 3 characters. They're using Sith Assassin to kind of, as a turn meter. helper, right? So, I personally have had Gear 12 Assassin.
Me too.
I'm not going to get a refund, but if the guys on my shard that invested in Sith Assassin get to keep their Gear 12 Sith Assassin and they get the gear back on top to put on other characters, that's going to be a problem. Like if they refund the gear, they're going to have to take Sith Assassin all the way back down to
Right.
fresh. Like you can't leave them with the Gear 12 character and give them the gear.
I think
Right.
I think the answer here is clear. You give every single person the gear that it would take to take a Sith Assassin to Gear 12, no matter what. No matter what they do. Just give every single player the gear that it would take to get Sith Assassin to Gear 12. How big of a deal is that really? Even if you had all the gear for a character to get him from Gear nothing to Gear 12, I mean, is that really going to change anything in your collection in this monumental game? I mean, we have 170 characters. Okay, even if they gave you for free a couple of Carbantes, a couple of stun cuffs, some Gear 12 pieces, whatever it is, even if they gave you all the pieces to get her leveled up, I mean, would it really be that big of a deal? Would this change? Would it make you like a bad player into a good player? No. It would give you a little bit of a boost. If anything, it would show good faith to the community, I think. And I think as far as that's concerned, I mean, I think that's the answer here. I don't think you try to remove gear from characters, and I mean, like, who wants to go through that entire mess? I mean, like, just give everybody the gear for Sith Assassin, or just roll back the fix, or make it somehow that Sith Assassin's bonuses are still beneficial to the characters in some other way. Like, change the verbiage so that Sith Assassin still works.
Right.
And you could do it that way, or if you're going to go down the road of refunding gear, then just give everybody all the gear for Sith Assassin, and so what? Everybody gets a free Gear 12 character. And I bet you some of those pieces, I mean, Sith Assassin's gear is probably not that crazy. I mean, I'm assuming that, there are characters that you're not going to be able to get to Gear 12 with her gear. You know what I mean? So, it would probably just be another, oh, cool. I mean, I would literally just, like, if I got that in my inventory, I'd be like, oh, cool, extra gear. I'd click on it, you know? You know what I mean? Like, it'd be like, oh, thank you, here's 300 crystals, you know? I mean, that's what I would say about that. I think it's one of those things where, first of all, Sith Assassin should still work as intended. I think that this whole thing was crazy. I think they should roll back the change that they made to Darth Malik and just change the verbiage where maybe, remember we were talking about the other day about maybe Darth Malik being immune to shock?
Yeah. I mean, that was a good suggestion. That would have been a good suggestion.
Yeah. That would be cool.
But I don't know.
You would think that the simplest solution would be out there, but no, I swear that they like to go for the most complicated solution out there. And poor Sith Assassin, I mean, she kind of had semi-potential there and actual usage and something that was kind of fun to play with a little bit. She was still kind of a glass cannon and kind of wimpy in that aspect, but still, she had potential there, and now they neutered her again. And it's like, oh man, now she's going to sit at the bottom of my pile, and she's going to sit on a Darth Maul team maybe somewhere.
Anyway, them's the breaks, I mean, Sith Assassin has seen better days, but ultimately I think that the move here is to please everybody. I mean, I understand that they may feel inclined to go ahead and try to fix the problem for a couple of players out there that decided to do this or go in on Sith Assassin. But, I mean, how many times have we all made an investment in a character and it didn't work out? I mean, I've done it tons of times. You know what I'm saying? And, I mean, there are times where did I get my gear back with General Grievous? Look at this guy. I put a Zeta on General Grievous. A Zeta, okay, on General Grievous. Gear 12, all right? I want my gear back, all right? No, I don't, actually. I'm happy with General Grievous. I'm not upset about the Zeta that I put on him either. I think it was worth it. Even though I'm not going to use him for Arena. I think that at some point when I do get the other Separatist characters like Droideka and I level up, when I have time to get there, Grievous will have his place for me, and I'll be happy with whatever I get out of that. It'll be cool to have. First of all, I really like B1 a lot, and I like Droideka too. So I think that when those characters become free to play, I'm going to farm them, level them up, and then I'll have a decent team that I can use in content. And I think that Grievous is going to have some play here in the upcoming territory battles. I mean, what do you guys think about Grievous in the upcoming territory battles? Do you think he'll be a necessity or a character that's required for certain parts of, let's say, dark side?
Oh, yeah, I think he is. Yeah, I think so. I think
it will be
necessary.
It will be like assuming that it's set up the same way. I mean, if there's like 6 days worth of battles, you can go ahead and bank on the Separatist droids being required for the 5th or 6th day, so you have to have those 6 or 7 stars on them. I mean, it's not a coincidence that this TB is releasing pretty soon after these 2 Droideka and B1s are released into, which will probably be hard nodes, right? So, you're going to have to get those characters up. And, the top end guilds that really want to, finish this thing off, they're going to power farm and spend some crystals on the shipments, spend some crystals on refreshing the hard nodes for these 2 droids that are coming out. So, and I think a lot of people will kind of ease off the Grievous sucks thing once they get their 7-star Droideka. I think I'm pretty excited. The droid team's pretty good already. I really do think it's good, and it's going to get a lot better once you get that 7-star Droideka. He's going to hit like a truck, one-shot in characters and whatnot. So it'll be interesting to see how this true damage he has interacts with ferocity. I haven't been ballsy enough taking my Grievous against the Darth Revan in Grand Arena yet, but we'll see. Yeah. What a week! What a week!
It's been an interesting week to say the least, for sure.
Yeah.
But Abby made a good point, and what she said earlier, like if something new comes out, guys, just wait. Sit, just look maybe at what gear is needed, look at the stuff you need, and sit on it for a week. Let the community, either gauge it, test it for you, let them make the changes they're going to make. Because now we have to expect anytime something new comes out, we're basically a live beta is what we are. And if something new comes out, you have to anticipate that it's going to change. Within a matter of days. So, I mean, that's just the kind of the mindset I'm taking moving forward. It's unfortunate, but that's the way that it is. I don't know. Not the best situation, but it could be a lot worse, I guess, than what it is.
Could definitely be worse. I mean, again, we're not exactly what I would say is a live beta, but we're
yeah, we are. There's just not enough. There's not enough out there, and the company just doesn't have the people to be able to test the aspect. And here you have tens of hundreds, thousands of people to test it for you. Whereas in-house, you have like a couple of people that might test it.
Even if there's 50, even if there's 50 people.
Every game is like that, though. Every game that you're playing the game, and then they're checking data on how your interactions are in the game, and then they make adjustments based on that. So I mean, it's not like, especially this day and age. I mean, this game is kind of like Anthem. It's a live service game. So I mean, it's like there are always going to be nerfs and adjustments and things like that. I mean, they never some of the stuff as well as I do. Some of the stuff that they release is literally last minute. I mean, they were back when Territory Battles first came out. Darkside Territory Battles was supposed to be coming out at the end of December. They were like, okay, guys, the date for Darkside Territory Battles is going to be December 24th or something like that. And we were like, okay, Christmas week, you're going to have a chance to play the new Darkside Territory Battles. And then we got an email later that night that's like, guys, we're actually rolling out Darkside Territory Battles tomorrow. And it moved up a month. I mean, this stuff, it's like off on the seat of their pants. it's based on like what's needed from Lucasfilm, like approval wise, what they want. There's certain things that they do because they want to do it, the studio, and there's certain things that they have to do because of their relationship with LucasArts and Lucasfilm, because they're definitely going to be required to do some promotion for the upcoming films and TV shows, etc. So there is that part of it to, you know, factor in as well. So there's always this, like, yes, we're kind of beta testing some stuff, but it's part of it is because of the way the game is. Like, I mean, the essence of the game itself, because it's the nature of the game is it's a live service, and they're always kind of releasing new things. There are going to be circumstances where characters interact with characters from 2 years ago that, you know, maybe they just didn't foresee having some sort of an OP effect in the game. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Maurice is gone dark on us here. Thank you very much, TMoney, for the donation. $5 Canadian. She says, Happy Easter, everyone. Happy Easter, everybody. Happy holidays to those of you celebrating Passover or any other holiday out there. Absolutely. I was able to do a Easter egg hunt today with my son. You know, it was awesome. It's like he's like running around the yard looking for Easter eggs, and like he's coming to me with like a bucket full of Easter eggs, and I just keep like throwing Easter eggs, like like when he's not looking, I'm just taking the Easter eggs that he's giving to me, and I'm hiding them in other places, so he just thinks that there's like an endless amount of Easter eggs. He's coming to me like, you know, like at one point I hid an Easter egg under a bucket, and like he found it, and then, you know, he went back to the same bucket and looked again, and there was another Easter egg. So like he just kept like throughout the rest of the day, he just kept going back to the bucket, like looking at the bucket to see if like another Easter egg would pop up, like, you know.
Right.
like as if it's like magic, you know. It was awesome. It was awesome, and it was a lot of fun. It was a good holiday. You know, we had a lot of candy, a nice big Easter basket. So we played some games, played some baseball. It was fun. But you know, I hope everybody enjoyed the holiday. So let's see where we're at right now. Okay, so we're at about 40 minutes in. Let's do the meta report now, and then we'll do some more gameplay here, and we'll do the Q&A. So let me dive in here to the meta report and the top 5. So as you can see, this is our current meta at the moment. Okay, Darth Revan. What are your guys' thoughts about this? I mean, did you foresee it? Remember, like 2 weeks ago, it was like a third Palpatine, and like,
yeah,
you know, it was like 20% Palpatine, maybe like 30% Jedi Knight Revan, and then the rest was Darth Revan. Now it's Darth Revan is clearly like 70% of the pie here, and then it's Jedi Knight Revan is about 25% of the pie, and then there's 5% for the rest of the characters out there.
Holy crap. It reminds me of when Jedi Knight Revan took up about as much space just before Darth Revan came out. And then it just kind of slowly filtered over to Darth Revan being the absolute meta there. Wow. Yeah, look at all those tiny little colors of like almost nobody's.
Well, you know, for those of you that are complaining that Jedi Knight Anakin is too OP, I don't see too much evidence here backing that claim. That's, you know, Anakin is beating my Revan. Is he? Is he really? Like, I have exactly one Anakin in my top 20 right now on the Revan team.
I fought one today, and I didn't even realize he was on the team because he just kind of blended in so well. And I'm like, oh, look, there's an Anakin. Let me go after him. Boom. It was done and over with in like 2 seconds.
Really steamroll Anakin. Steamroll Anakin. I mean, if I see Anakin on the other team, I'm like...
He's still squishy, for God's sake.
You know when you're picking teams, like, and you want to go for a certain team, like when you're going down the ladder, you're sitting there looking like, okay, which team should I battle next? And you're looking at, like, you know, either a jump of, like, let's say 5 or a jump of 4 to the next spot. If I see an Anakin, I'm going there. You know
yeah.
You know what I mean? If I see, like, I've seen some guys running Sith teams with Anakin, like running straight up like Darth Revan, and then the 5th character is Anakin. You know, like Revan, Bastila, HK-47, Malik, and then the 5th character is Anakin. And I'm like, yes! Anakin is the 5th character, no Sith Trooper? I'm going for that team. You know, and then you literally just one-shot Anakin 4 seconds later. You know what I mean? It's a joke. I don't think he's that... I think he's good, and don't get me wrong, he's much better than he was. He was literally unusable before. But now he's like... okay, you know, he's a good character, and you can win with him on offense with decent mods, like Nathaniel Morgan's saying in the chat right now. But is he, like, gonna, you know, literally trump the entire Malik Darth Revan meta? I think this chart really shows you here that that's not the case, and I don't think that's a case of people not having Gear 12 Jedi Knight Anakin yet. Maybe over the next couple weeks, you'll see some more Jedi Knight Revan teams with people using Anakin as a 5th character, because there'll be less people using, you know, Emperor Palpatine, CLS, and that other 5%. That'll dwindle even further down. There'll be less Palpatines a week from now than there are today. But I don't think that it's going to chop into the Darth Revan meta at all.
No.
No. And even if Anakin takes out your Malik, you could still win.
Yeah, those.
So, you've got 4 other characters on your team. If Darth Malik dies because of Anakin and everybody else survives, it's like, okay, that doesn't mean you lose. That means you still have 4 characters on your team that you can still win with, and you can do that.
Well, again, people have 5-star Darth Maliks, and people have 5-star Darth Maliks with 120% health, right? Or 120,000 health. So it's not unrealistic to believe that a 7-star Malik, with the additional pieces, could be approaching 175,000. Oh, maybe if you have fantastic mods, getting close to 200,000 health on him, right? So I'm sorry, but Anakin is not going to be AoEing for 200,000 damage.
Yeah, mine's about 183.
Yeah, your 7-star?
Yeah.
Yes, see, there you go. Like I was okay. So
with 113% tenacity,
and if it's a Zeta Malik and he crits Malik, you're gonna get fear, right? And and then Malik's gonna heal himself entirely with his next move. You know what I mean? So it's really irrelevant. But that's the meta report today. Kind of interesting to look at. It's been changing pretty frequently over the last couple of weeks, so we'll take a look at it again and see what happens next week. But moving along to the characters, really not much difference here. Bastila Fallen still number 1 with Revan, HK-47. That's the trio, like Grandmaster Yoda, Jedi Knight Revan, and Joe Lee were before this with the Jedi meta. Sith Trooper Darth Malik is the number 5 character in the meta right now at rank 1. I mean, I guess that makes sense because it is rank 1. So I would imagine that he's probably not probably not the most popular character because he's probably a little bit less had than some other options like Sith Trooper, but he's definitely up there and getting a lot of use now for those characters or those guys that got him. I think most people that got Darth Revan were able to go ahead and make the plunge to get Darth Malik. So that's kind of what I think was going on here. I think a lot more people got Darth Malik than people think. And then behind them is the Jedis. You know, it's Jedi Knight Revan, Grandmaster Yoda, Jolie Bindo, Bastila Shan, and General Kenobi. I do imagine that Anakin will make his way onto this list probably over the next week or two at some point. Probably in, rank 10, rank 9, or something like that. Maybe he'll surpass Kenobi.
Just out of curiosity, I'm looking at the top 100 ranks. At the top 10 squad members at ranks 1 through 100, Malik is all the way at the bottom. Not the bottom, but the bottom of the chart at 15%. So let's see. Darth Malik 15%, Darth Revan 25%. So 10% of people that have Darth Revan do not have Malik, which is pretty incredible because I think all of us, I don't remember which stray was over, like maybe a third of people will get Darth Malik. That was not the case. They did pretty well with the Darth Malik event. So
honestly, I use Malik only on one team. The rest of my teams, I use something else. I actually use Scion and Nihilus. I don't use Malak on the team.
Where's DSPS? Where's Anakin in the meta? Not there. That OP the rework that we received Anakin is not in the top 10 squad members. So, you know.
And there was real discussion. I mean, listen, guys, there was real discussion about, like, making an adjustment to Anakin about this. And I was like, no, don't do this. Just wait and see what happens. Let people complain. Let people complain. And then after a couple of days, the people that are really upset about it will either see that they're incorrect, or maybe they were a little bit rash to make a judgment, or we'll find out that it really is a problem, and then at that point you make an adjustment. That's it. So that's really the answer every time. There's no reason to make a knee-jerk reaction and adjust a character when everything's working as intended, and it's just a couple of interactions or a couple of videos that kind of show that a character is working well, or because you never know what the circumstances are in those videos. I mean, listen, people post videos or screenshots, and you don't know what the mods are on those teams. You don't know what the circumstances are on those teams. You don't know anything. And this game, if it's proven you anything, it's that any team can be beaten on offense. Okay, we're not in the old days of this game where if you have the right pieces and you can put together a good, team that's just going to hold at rank 1 for a day and a half. Everybody loses. You know what I mean? So there's always a counter and there's always a mirror match, and every team loses. And the only thing that really separates us in this game at this moment is mods and gear, and that's really it. But moving along, I actually decided to include, we're not going to do ships this week because ships is the same as always, but we're going to look at the rank 1 squad compositions. Okay, so just to take a look here, I wanted to dive into this to see really how many Anakins are in the lead at rank 1, and the teams that are taking rank 1 with Jedi Knight Revan are doing it without Anakin. Okay, if you look at the meta right now, 54% of people taking rank 1 are doing it with Darth Revan, Bastila, Malak, HK-47, and Sith Trooper. That's the team. Right now, that's the 5. Okay? The next best team in Arena, and by a larger margin than you would imagine, is Jedi Knight Revan, Bastila Shan, General Kenobi, Grandmaster Yoda, and Jolie Bindo. The same team that's been the meta for the last 7 months or 8 months, or 6 months or whatever, has been Revan, with the 5 that were with him before. I mean, so there is no insertion here of Anakin into that. Anakin doesn't come into play. 4% of the meta is running Jedi Knight Revan, Anakin, Grandmaster Yoda, Hermit Yoda, and Jolie Bindo, and taking rank 1. 300 people. Then there's multiple different compositions of that. So if you sum that up all together, there are about, I'd say, 300, 200. So, okay, so let's say with the inclusion of Anakin, there are about the same amount of people that are winning with just the traditional Jedi Knight Revan team, or winning with some variation of Anakin in the lineup as well. So if you look at the Jedi Knight Revan meta, like the leader at rank 1, which is Jedi Knight Revan, you could split that about in half, and half those guys are taking rank 1 with Anakin in some shape or form, and the rest are taking it with the original 5 Jedi. So there's really no difference there. The only difference, even on top of that, and I mean, a team that's getting more play than them is Darth Revan with the rest of the 5, but instead of Malak, people are using Thrawn because they don't have Malak. So I imagine those people that weren't able to defeat the Malak event and get Malak to 5 stars are running Thrawn.
Well, why you run Thrawn is you make Thrawn your absolute fastest character. That way you can fracture Sith Trooper, and then you can actually fear the entire opposing team with your Malak because you can target the leader. I've got a lot of guys on my shard that run that So it's pretty effective. It's actually there's a couple of them I don't really like facing. Their Thrawn is so fast, like 328. You know, like a 328 Thrawn. Like I can't get my Thrawn that fast. I can't get anybody on my team that fast. And his Thrawn goes fraction of a Sith Trooper. And he's got like a 328 Thrawn and like a 327 Revan backing him up every time. That can be a pretty good team if you have the mods for it. That's actually a very good team. Not as good as Malik, but if you don't have Malik, that's probably your best bet to decline easily.
Mm-hmm. And the thing of Morgan's saying, the people taking rank 1 without Anakin are the new shards. What new shards have Jedi Knight Revan and Jolie Bindo and Bastila Shan 7 stars? I don't think the majority of newer players have those characters. I mean, yes, I can see how people who started playing later may not have Anakin, because Anakin was not important at all over the last 2 years. So anybody who has come on later would not have any kind of pressing need to start farming Anakin, because he's also a hard character to get. He's not an easy character to farm by any means. I mean, it took me a long time to get a 7-star Anakin, and I was really happy when I got it. This was a few years ago. So I understand that, and I can see what you're saying there. So Anakin would be the long play for most of those players. Yeah, there's a lot of newborn whales. I guess you're right. I mean, in that sense, I can understand what you're saying, but I think for the majority, I think that those people are people that just decided not to invest in Darth Revan because they maybe didn't go for some of the Knights of the Old Republic characters. Some of the, they didn't have a Karth 7-star. Karth Onasi to 7-star is a hard farm. Okay, I mean, I was somebody who you could say got a jump on this because I felt like this was going to happen, and I went all in on all these characters the second I could. I bought the $10 packs to get them all to 4 stars when they came out. I was farming their nodes as soon as they dropped. I farmed Dark Bastila. I farmed Canderous right away, and then when Karth and Juhani dropped, I started farming them right away, and I still had to pay to buy some shards at the end for Karth because Karth was still so far behind. I mean, he was still like almost 150 shards behind. So, I mean, it's like the Karth farm was really hard for a lot of people, I think. And, being in a ship node where the cost of a refresh is 100 right off the bat. I mean, there's no 50 refreshes in ship nodes. And it's a hard farm, and I think that everybody will get them next time around, definitely, and I think it'll come around sooner than people think. But it's just one of those things where I think a lot of people just, they were like, okay, I'm gonna hold off on this. Revan is still going to be able to beat Darth Revan, and some people are still doing it with Jedi Knight Revan. So, you can see in the meta report, there's people beating Darth Revan at rank 1 every day, and I have it on my shard. I see people still taking rank 1, for their for their payouts with Jedi Knight Revan. So it's not affecting anybody's crystal intake on a daily basis. So if that's the case, then it's okay to wait a couple of months to get a character. It's not a big deal. You know what I'm saying? But that's where we're at with this. I just wanted to show everybody, we don't really do this report ever. We've never done it before, so I just wanted to kind of show what squads are really dominating the meta right now, so everybody can kind of see and take a snapshot of what is really at the top of the arena at the moment. And it's all Jedi Knight Revan or Darth Revan. That's it. But let's move on to our top 5 this week. This week we have top 5 Clone Wars reworks. So we're going to be doing top 5 potential reworks for the Clone Wars, and there's a lot to dive into here because top 5 reworks for the Clone Wars really means a lot of characters that we've been waiting for a long time, because a lot of these characters that haven't been touched are the characters that are going to be on this list. Characters that really overall haven't had any love since the game came out. And the Clone Wars is upon us. We've been already told that we're going to be getting a Clone Wars territory battles, and there were some conversations, from Star Wars Celebration and some people that met with people at CG that said that there are going to be some characters that are getting reworked specifically. We don't know anything 100%, But these are the top 5 characters that we think should get reworks or are going to get reworks sometime here over the next couple months as we dive into the Clone Wars era of Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. Now, at number 5, we have Cody. Okay, now this is a little bit of a variation from what Maurice put on the list. And, I remember, he put in Echo here, and I felt like Cody was a little bit more of an important rework because he's really the leader of the clones. And if the clones are going to have any kind of significance in this upcoming territory battles, like if we're going to need 7-star clones to do, let's say, the last SM in, let's say, light side Geonosis territory battles, you're going to have a good Cody. And Cody needs to be reworked intensively. I think that his kit is, in my opinion, was never good. He came out and he was instantly a dump. And he's just somebody that worked well for the. He worked well for the tank raid for a while. I mean, obviously the Phase 4 teams with the Princess Zodi teams and things like that. Those were good for the raid, but he's never, ever, ever had any place in the arena, no matter what anybody tells you. And
Yep.
I don't think even with a rework coming up that he will have a place in the arena, but he may have a place in Grand Arena or Territory Wars, and that could be where he's important. And what do you guys think?
I love my
Cody's
clone boys.
kit- Go ahead.
Oh, no, please go ahead. I just wanted to say I love my clone boys. You go first.
Yeah, Cody's fine. The supporting cast is why Cody sucks so bad, because they don't do any damage.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Cody's kit is fine, but when you have Rex swooping in for 2,500 damage, Echo swooping in for 2,500 damage, the only damage on that team is Clone Sergeant. I think Clone Sergeant kit is fine. He's a generic character. He's not supposed to do that much. But what you could do for Cody, perhaps, is maybe remove that damage penalty on that mass assist. But it already has an Omega, so you can't really Zeta it. They'd have to rework the whole thing. And well, I say that they could easily make it a Zeta. Maybe remove that damage penalty. Tweak it a bit. His AOE is garbage. The 2 critical hits stun the primary target.
Yeah.
That one's pretty bad.
It doesn't do anything. Yeah, most of the time you're like, did it do anything? No, it didn't.
It does minimal damage. It's that one could get an overhaul for sure. So something does need to happen to the clones. And as you mentioned, Rowan, I mean, they were released the Chromium exclusive characters. There was no way to obtain them besides buying Chromiums. So this is the old days. I mean, everyone's like, oh my God, they released Malak like this. Well, guess what, guys? They used to release characters straight to Chromium, and you could not get them unless you bought Chromium. So, I mean, Malak was a hell of a lot cheaper than trying to get Cody out of a Chromium pack.
I mean, that was a crazy roll of the dice. Okay, I mean, you're talking about like I remember the days of I remember Malga Bean got Echo to 7 stars from Chromium, and he was a guildmate of mine, and he was like, oh, the drop rate for Echo is great, and it was like one of those things where, I mean, you would buy, sometimes 5 Chromiums, and you wouldn't get a single shard for the character that you're looking for. So you'd be spending almost an entire vault and not get a single shard for the character. It was a complete roll of the dice. So there were higher drop rates for some of the newer characters. So occasionally you would see 5 Cody shards here or 6 Cody shards there or whatever, and you'd get a full unlock sometimes. And the characters started off at a higher star level, so if you did get a full unlock, you got more shards per unlock. But absolutely a completely ridiculous way to release new characters, because there was no guarantee that you would get any shards for the character that you're looking for. Remember when they released Kylo Ren, and the Chromium Mega Packs would say best chance to get Kylo Ren? It was like it was crazy, and you had to just straight up buy packs and hope that you got the shards for the character. So people would just stop at 4 stars, 5 stars, because they didn't want to spend any more to get them to 7 stars. And back then, a 4-star, 5-star character when the game first came out was okay. You know what I'm saying? But obviously, you wanted to go and finish the investment. So you'd end up, just having food for the shark shop. And, I mean, if let's say, and I think this spot here is a little bit interchangeable. Okay, it could be Cody. I think you could insert pretty much any clone here, with the exception of maybe Rex and, like you said, Clone Sergeant. But let's say Echo was here. What would you change about Echo at this spot?
Oh my God, his health and protection. He is so incredibly weak in protection and health. It's like you piss on him and he dies.
Yeah.
Did I just say that on live stream? Yes, I did. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
But he's like the weakest. Absolutely, he's got such potential, by doing the debuffs and stuff. But my God, it's like you sneeze on him and he just passes out and he dies. It's like, oh, there he goes. That's it.
So what do you think about Echo here, Maurice? I know that was your original selection.
Well, Echo is just kind of the weakest link, I guess. Echo is nice because he assists, and he was great in those boosted territory wars. I mean, he was great because he would, just give them the synergy that they had in the territory wars, right? That would really answer
that'd be awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, but he does no damage. His AOE does tremendous damage, but it's got such a long cooldown. If they could reduce, I think it cooldowns 5 or 6, that AOE dispel. I mean, they could reduce that to 3, or maybe have some sort of mechanic in his kit that reduces it down quicker. Maybe if he crits on an assist or some sort of mechanic like that. Because if that's all they really have to do, if they could reduce that cooldown or manipulate the cooldown of that ability, he would be a much better character. That is a very high damage dealing character, and could, I don't know, he's just kind of junky. Just kind of he does provide a little bit of turn meter manipulation. All the clones need a little more speed. Is the problem? They're all pretty slow.
Speed and damage, definitely.
Excuse me, not turn meter health. He revives 7% max health whenever they use a basic ability on the clones, and so maybe they can amp that up. Maybe add some turn meter manipulation on that move as well. So yeah, he's just kind of, as she mentioned, he's got a health and protection pool of 55,000 with all 5 pieces on the gear 12. Maybe the clones could be one of those factions we see that really, when these 6 pieces come out, maybe they all get the best piece in that 6 slot, kind of balance them. The gear, that's something we've seen them do in the past. So
we'll see. But that's our number 5 potential rework for the Clone Wars. What is our number 4 rework here, Maurice?
Let's see. Number 4 is Poggle. Number four is Poggle. Everyone is kind of anticipating a 5th Geonosian coming. I think that's a fair guess, and if you don't rework Poggle, you still don't have much in terms of Geonosian team. The rest of them are usable. Sunfac is, I think, still serviceable. Geonosian Soldier, while he's not the best, he's a very easy to obtain damage dealing character that assists. Geonosian Spy's got the big damage, and Poggle just sucks. Poggle does nothing.
He sucks all around.
He does an ability block on his basic, I think, with a low percentage, and he gives more bonuses to the droids than he does Geonosians. I think this is something they could easily fix. He makes a lot of lists on characters rework, and this is one. He's not very good. He does have a high base speed, and can synergize with Geonosian Spy, feeding Spy turn meter from his debuffs, but they really need to do something that draws the Geonosians together better than they have now. It is an incomplete faction.
I think the Geonosians could be awesome if they just do some reworks with them. It'd be just so nice to have that kind of a faction as a alternative, just for fun, in like TW or even territory battles, not necessarily arena, but just something else to play with. Yeah.
You know, he's...
Oh, T-Money says he has sexy legs. Ooh, yeah.
I like those legs.
Ooh, he does.
Yeah, I like his bracelet, too. He's got a really boss bracelet, and that cane is awesome, too. You know, the thing about him is he's really geared towards being, like, kind of an addition to, like, some sort of a droid team, which I don't know what they were even thinking with that. But, I mean, to be honest with you, it's that's where he's best served right now. He's kind of a leader for droids. And... You know, it makes sense that he gets a complete overhaul. He got, I believe he was just giving kind of turn meter to the team and giving is it speed up?
Yeah, he gave speed up to droids, but did not give it to the Geonosians.
Yeah.
It's so ridiculous.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, his leadership basically helps everybody else but the Geonosians, so.
Give them offense. I mean, that leadership... I mean, if you look at it, it is uber generic. So, I mean, that's easy to fix. I mean, they could slap on a whole other paragraph to that and just leave it as it. I mean, it's like 30% offense to Geonosians or something.
They could rename him to Poggle the Most or Poggle the More.
No, he's Poggle the Worst for sure. But I mean,
well, he is now. Yeah.
He's just such a bad character. But I mean, like, really horrible kid. And his basic. The only thing he does that's good is he does ability block on his basic attack, which is kind of cool. But yeah, that's really it. Other than that, it's completely a complete wash with him. They would need to like completely start from the drawing board, wipe out everything that he does, and just start from scratch and give him a clone. I mean, give him a Geonosian synergy, because I mean there are so many better leaders for the droids at this point in the game that you could just pretty much take away anything that he has to do with droids altogether, which I don't think he has anything to do with droids in the actual history or lore of the game, or the lore of the Star Wars, so I don't know why that was there, but anyway, it is what it is. Poggle the Lesser at number 4.
I think somebody did a typo when they did his leadership for droids.
I think somebody never watched Star Wars ever before and was like, Poggle the Lesser, we need a droid leader. Let's, Lobot, Poggle the Lesser, let's slap those guys in. But that's our number 4 rework for the Clone Wars. Let's see what our number 3 rework is. We have Kit Fisto. So, Kit Fisto coming right at you. If you guys thought Kit Fisto was bad, he really, really is. And let me tell you, I can't believe he has a leader ability. I mean, well, what person has ever ran a Kit Fisto lead in this game? If you've ever ran Kit Fisto lead, please type in the comment section that you used to run a Kit Fisto lead, because I've never seen it ever.
I did when he first came out, but I don't even remember what his talents are.
He has counterattack. He has an AoE ability that does pretty bad damage, and he was part of that counter team that you could run a while back, where if you had a, I think it was basically like who was the lead? Was it
I'm a Gundy.
I'm a Gundy lead.
Oh,
you had
yes.
Ayla Secura, Kit Fisto, Fives, and Count Dooku, and that was the counter team. And if you had,
that was what I did. I did that exactly, the counter team.
And if you had I'm a Gundy on as leader, he gave everybody a percentage of counterattack, and if you added that percentage of counterattack to what Kit Fisto already had, it made it like a much higher percent that he would counter back, if not almost 100%. And the same thing with Ayla. So I think Ayla had like 75% counter chance, and then the leader from I'm a Gundy was like 25% counter chance. So it was like if you combine the two, it was like 100% that she would counter. And that was the whole squad. I mean, that was the counter team, and it worked. I mean, there were some guys, remember Ewalkin used to run that team for months? That was his squad. But Kit Fisto has never been a serviceable Jedi. Nobody you could use in a Jedi team. His AoE was pretty much, the animation is exactly like what Anakin's AoE used to be. Like, just like, it looks like he's just pushing the other team. And he had a chance to double attack on his basic. So he would come in and attack with his basic, and there was like a percentage chance that he could attack again a second time. I'm not too sure offhand what his unique was, but I'm sure it was bad. So I have to look.
Kit Fisto?
Yeah, I have to look and see what his leader ability is.
Well, this is actually the ability that has room for improvement. It's only level 7. It's called Superior Blade Work, which is comical. Kit Fisto has 35% counter chance and 20% offense. The end. If you guys have ever used Kit Fisto, you will know that 20% of nothing still equals nothing. He hits like a wimp. He does no damage at all. And I mean, we're in the era of unresistible abilities. So you can just go ahead and trash that, turn the tide, deal physical damage to all enemies, grant allies potency up. You do not need potency up right now versus these Darth Battling teams. It's not going to do you any good because they have negative decreasing tenacity anyway. Potency up is kind of a he was one of the very, very few characters that gave potency up. And I never used him initially, but I imagine in the era before protection was even introduced into the game that potency up did have, some advantages. But you got potency up for Jedi, which really aren't a debuff-oriented faction anyway. That move's kind of silly. In his leadership, like you mentioned, all allies gain 25% tenacity, and Jedi allies gain 45 defense. And this we could have made a top 5 of all of the old Jedi, but this kit, his here is one of the most dated kits in the game. All of his abilities are one sentence and probably have less than 12 to 13 words in them. So.
Yeah, I took him.
His leader ability, by the way, just so you know, is all allies gain 25% tenacity and Jedi allies gain 45 defense.
Yeah, but you've got two much better tenacity leaderships in the faction already with Ayla and Jedi or Grandmaster Yoda. So I mean,
also Bastila.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No. Yeah. Yeah. She is the ultimate. I didn't even mention her, but this is just the kit needs everything.
Yeah, I took him up to gear 11 in my other guild, and everybody started yelling at me in game. They're like, "What are you doing? What is this? What's going on?" And I'm like, man, I got to start working on these guys for the new territory battle.
He's also a joke. I mean, like, Kit Fisto, although he's probably done a lot of cool things in comic books and stuff like that. If you remember him from the movies, he's the guy that got literally sliced by Palpatine in the first 3 seconds of that battle with Mace Windu. He just walks in there. He's like, oh, like.
He had less screen time than Biston.
He literally, Palpatine takes his lightsaber out and kills Kit Fisto. Like before he even he literally just breathed on Kit Fisto and he was dead. That was the most easy defeat in the history of a Jedi. I mean, Palpatine is good with a lightsaber. Don't get me wrong. I mean, if you ever seen Palpatine fight with a lightsaber, like in the Clone Wars cartoon series, he is supposed to be one of the greatest lightsaber duelists. Okay, he has 2 sabers and he's really sick with it. I mean, he killed Kit Fisto in less than a second. He killed Kit Fisto and another Jedi in 2 seconds. It was really only Mace Windu that was able to overpower him, and some people still question to this day whether Mace Windu could have really beat him one up if Palpatine wasn't purposely trying to get Anakin to turn. So people think that Palpatine was kind of under, he was kind of tanking the fight so that Anakin would see Mace Windu try to kill him and then turn to the dark side. So, but that's Kit Fisto for you. Moving along to our number 2, Clone Wars rework. Who do we have here, Maurice?
Number 2 is going to be Dooku, Count Dooku. Count Dooku is not terrible, but he is not great. He's nowhere near the character he should be, just based on the, just the series, the movies. He should be much, much better than he is. And I guess his main weakness is his base stats are great, with the exception of his damage, health, and protection. Everything else is great. He's a fast character. He has the highest potency in the game. Years now, I guess, they redid how they showed potency in the game. He did have 100% potency long ago before they tweaked it up. He has the highest potency in the game, and he needs potency. He's got another form of shock to kind of fuel, Palpatine, and now You could use him, with maybe like there's all sorts of shock in the game. He does apply that. He's got a stun. He counters. We mentioned him a second ago on the counter team. He could use his Zeta is, not great, but not terrible. But I would like to see him get some sort stacking something. He needs stacking some, whether it be health, whether it be protection. He does get protection back with that Zeta. And he does get crit hit immunity. But if he could get like a stacking protection pool with that Zeta, like every time, he not only he recovers protection, but he also increases his max protection. That could turn him into quite the monster. He synergizes quite well with these new Separatist droids too. You can run a Dooku lead with like Droideka B1. It works pretty well. I ran that in Grand Arena for a while. When HK was still relevant with the droids, I ran HK with Grievous, B2, IG-100. Then I ran the two new ones with Dooku, and it worked okay. It wasn't great, but it's serviceable. He does have an evasion lead. Again, very, very dated. All allies gain 50% evasion and gain offense up for 2 turns whenever they invade. They could stack another sentence or 2 on there. So this is one that could use a touch up, I guess, similar to what Anakin and Kenobi just got. That would really go a long way for him.
Yeah, I pretty much agree. I think that he's just missing a little something. I don't think that he needs it needs to be completely scrapped, but I do think that some of his stuff is really dated, and his damage is kind of a problem because he attacks a million times. Don't get me wrong, but he really needs to do anything. And I think that if they kind of reworked that Zeta a little bit, where he was able to gain some more bonuses from counterattacking, he could really actually be a really dangerous character in Sith team if he had a little bit of a better either a leader ability to kind of create another team altogether, or if they reworked his Zeta so that he got more protection, kind of like you were saying. And I think that the percentages for his ability to stun a second person could be increased as well. That would make things a little bit more interesting. He does have the ability to stun a second target with his Force Lightning, and that would be kind of cool. And they could increase the percentage of him, sticking some of those, ability blocks and things like that, or stuns with his basic attack too. If he was just like a constant stunner and he did a little bit more damage, I think he'd be, probably a much higher tier character. He needs a higher health pool too. He's very, very squishy. So.
Yeah, they're saying in the chat they need to rework that roller skate attack animation, and that's something that's something they should consider, because if they give him some sort of survivability, he could be the ultimate timeout team, just for the simple fact that his animation takes so long. Like it just yeah. Just it doesn't have to do any damage to time you out. If he's doing it over and over and over again, you can't kill him. So,
well, one of the things I think would work interesting for him, because of the amount of times that he counters, is that each time if he counters and then counters again and then counters again, that each time it builds up the counter. I mean, it basically builds up the damage. His first counter might not be that much damage, but if it kind of builds up from there, that could scare the crap out of people.
Yeah,
I think that would be fun. I think that would be a fun thing to have, is that you just it's like, oh crap, how many times is he going to counter now? And he has the potential to counter up to so many times, for example.
Yeah, DSP just put when he counters, he gains 5% offense stacking, which could make him, any sort of stacking offense instantly makes a character viable in like a raids or a PvE situation. So that would be cool. Make him a PvE character. I'd be fine with that. We don't.
Yeah,
we
I don't.
Some more of
yeah,
those,
PvE
especially for
is
the territory battle.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That animation is really something interesting, though. I mean, that that back and forth. I mean, he's kind of like a white bearded wizard out there, just like slapping people with his lightsaber in the face. But
I'll have to look at it because I use him so rarely that I don't even remember what his animation is.
you know what it is? I just remember the old days of the one-time speed and just having to watch Dooku go 4 times in a row. Oh my god! You can sit there for a half hour just watching Dooku, and it would literally just like it was horrible. It was
right.
horrible. Plus all the dodge and stuff. I mean, thank God that doesn't happen anymore. But thank God that meta is gone and behind us. Now at number 1. Who do we have here, Maurice?
I think everybody knows what this is going to be. Mace Windu is our number 1 Clone Wars era rework character, and I think that goes without saying. He is absolutely atrocious. He's worthless. He's slow. Super dated kit, does no damage. Has an expose in his kit that he rarely attacks. that the AI plays him poorly. He is a fleet commander, which is unfortunate. So a lot of people do have him geared up for their ships, and they just simply there's nowhere to use him outside of a like Bastila lead where you just have him like pre-taunt for 1 turn, and then he just stands there like a dummy for the rest of the match. He's got Dispel. Vapad should be much better than what it is. Leadership's kind of irrelevant, very inferior compared to, especially now, all of the rest of the Jedi leaderships. I don't think it's even a top 5 or 6 Jedi leadership at this point. And his Shatterpoint is pretty silly. And he's been reworked 2, maybe 3 times already now.
Mm-hmm.
So it might just be best just to scrap him and just give us a new Mace, which is now the realm of possibility. So you know,
just never got him right. Never ever got him right. And you know, he's such an important character. It's ridiculous that we've never been able to use Mace Windu in any kind of meaningful way in this game. And I would love it for him. I mean, you can see my Mace Windu is still at Gear 7. I've never touched Mace Windu since then, and I will not do it. I know a lot of people have done it because of the ship. Don't get me wrong, it's kind of a principle thing for me. Until this happens, where they actually give him some life and some I mean, I wanted to so bad. Okay, when they first reworked him and gave him that expose, I was like, you know, I waited for people to test it out and see how it worked, and I was so disappointed with the fact that they finally gave this guy some life and that it didn't work out. You know, he was still horrible. And I'm in a situation where, I mean, I would be just as excited as if they released a new character, if they just reworked Mace Windu the right way. If they reworked Mace Windu the right way, I would be super stoked. I would gear him up. It would become my priority. Okay, I would love this guy, and I would use him in a Jedi team. I mean, he's such an important character in the lore. I mean, he's also a Galactic Republic, a Jedi. He's a tank. You know, he's got, you know, he should have a good leader ability. I mean, he's one of the top members of the entire Jedi Order during the time of Grandmaster Yoda. Number 2 to Grandmaster Yoda, pretty much in the order. And he's one of the greatest lightsaber duelists in the history of Star Wars. So, I mean, his ability to kind of balance the light and the good with his lightsaber capabilities with Vapad make him, you know, really a rival to any Sith Lord as well. So, I mean, he's just super strong with the Force, and he should have a really good kit in this game. I'd love to see them rework the animation for Smite as well. I'm so sick and tired of seeing that, like, Jedi, you know, that I'm a Gundy, you know, like spin, and the same thing that Aayla Secura does, the same thing that Mace Windu does, the same thing that I'm a Gundy does. It's like this like spinny in the air lightsaber attack. It's so ridiculous. They need to get rid of that and just give Mace Windu a new animation entirely for Smite. Give him a new animation for his basic attack. He shouldn't just be running up and slapping somebody with his lightsaber either. It should look cool, okay? And I mean, all the names that they have here are correct. I mean, he uses Vapad. You know, he's got, you know, Shatterpoint is one of his special techniques that he uses. So I think that if he used any of this stuff, if they decided to actually, you know, spend some time and rework this character right, you know, he could be a super important character. And he's somebody that if you made him, even if you made him an instant meta changer, like if you made him arena viable, I would not be disappointed with that. I don't think anybody would be, because, you know, he's not somebody that shouldn't be up there. I mean, just like Anakin, like the way I feel about Anakin being such an important character in the lore, so is he. And if he got that love, I think that it would make sense. It would be a lot of... you know, a lot of people would understand. I mean, Mace Windu should be a good character in this game.
I agree. Yeah, I agree totally.
But that is our number one Clone Wars rework. We do have an honorable mention, and Clone Wars Chewie.
Ah, I knew he was going to be in there somewhere. I was wondering.
The only man with Clone Wars in his name, Clone Wars Chewie, has to get reworked. This guy is just so bad, okay? Clone Wars Chewie had us crying for the new Chewbacca. So we do have a newer Chewie, and he is awesome. So, I mean, I'm not so upset about the fact that, you know, Chewie isn't getting representation in the game. But Clone Wars Chewie, his basic is like a tickle. He does no damage. His taunt is horrible, and Defiant Roar. I mean, nobody cares about like 20% health bonus, 20% health regeneration or healing anymore. I don't even know if he should have a leader ability. Let's just get rid of that altogether and just give him 3 awesome abilities. Let him be still a taunting tank. Give him the Wookiee Rage, but. Give him some sort of, protection regen with counterattack and maybe some sort of interesting debuff that he sticks with his basic. Give him some love.
Yeah, I mean, most of these characters are just a case of, dated kits, right? So this one, of course, is dated. This is the one everybody gets to start the game. And, it wouldn't be terrible that you keep getting Clone Wars Chewbacca, and he actually remains relevant throughout your game adventure. Clone Wars Chewbacca at this point, you get him, and you just instantly, gear him up to like gear 5 to get you through the first light side battles, and you instantly replace him with any other tank in the game. His leadership is serviceable with L3 and Vandor in certain like Grand Arena defense situations, because he'll constantly keep a buff on Vandor, which is very important. But that's really about it. I mean, his kit. Outside of maybe the handful of people who used him for the Rancor initially, is very bad. Just turn meter removal on the basic was nice. Maybe you could increase that from such a low percent chance. Maybe give him some other sort of. But when he does his, Wookiee Call or Roaring Rage or whatever it's called, I don't know the name of that ability, but when he does that, maybe give him something else besides defense up and health. Maybe give him. Maybe an offensive kind of stack set where you can do some damage, give him a bonus turn, something like that. Just a small tweak to his kit could make him relevant. Maybe give him a uncleansable, or undispellable taunt. That would be cool, like a lock taunt. That would be pretty cool. That's something we'll probably get eventually. That's the path we're going down, but
yeah,
I'm surprised Malik doesn't have one.
That would be good. That would be cool. That would be cool, yeah.
Yeah, so I actually geared him up to gear 12 because he is very, very good for my particular roster for Grand Arena defense. I like him a lot in that guard, but he just stands there. That's all I want him to do is just stand there, and I use his leadership abilities, and his character kit sucks. But yeah, like you said, he has Clone Wars as his name, so I felt kind of obligated to include.
Well, TMoney says that he can beat Jedi Knight Revan in Grand Arena. So, if that's the case, listen, I haven't messed with my Clone Wars Chewie in a while. Maybe I missed the boat on that Grand Arena train with Clone Wars Chewie, but I think that he's definitely somebody that could use some love. Whether you like the kit or not as it is, I think that it's pretty dated. It's one of the first kits that ever came out. It hasn't been touched. He hasn't gotten any increases or Zetas or anything like that. So, he doesn't have a Zeta, right?
He's got a Zeta. Yeah, he does.
He does.
He got reworked. He got reworked once and got a Zeta, which a lot of people Zeta'd him, and it was like, dude, don't do that. And they did it anyway.
Okay, his Zeta he could get a new Zeta. They could redo that Zeta.
So maybe I'm lacking entirely on my Clone Wars Chewie knowledge here. Yeah, he is an essential character for people to start the game. He definitely is important. He's one of the first characters that you get, and he's kind of like a savior for you with that taunt at the beginning of the game. He's able to heal himself, and that's kind of what you need a tank to do because he's just taking all the damage for your team. But that's our top 5 Clone Wars reworks. If you do like that kind of thing, please do smash the like button and subscribe, hit that notification bell, to get notified when we go live. So we're going to go back and do a little bit more gameplay here, but while we do that, Maurice has, I'm sure, compiled a few questions, and if you guys have any topics you'd like to discuss or questions you'd like to ask, this is that time of the stream where we typically answer your questions, take any topics that you're looking to discuss here in the stream, and we'll talk about them now as we wrap up the stream for this week. Do we have anything set up on the table so far? Do we have anything that was asked earlier?
Yeah, we got a couple. We don't have too many questions. We got a couple, though. We'll start with DSP. Do you think a 25% damage reduction on Anakin is enough? He still gets crushed by Malik on D. Is that what they're talking about doing? A damage reduction on his AoE? 25%?
Actually, I have not heard anything yet.
Yeah, I don't know about that, man.
I don't know. I don't think they should do anything, to be honest. I think he's fine just the way he is.
25% damage reduction is a lot. That's a lot of reduction. I don't know. Like you said, he still gets crushed by Malik on defense. Yes, he's. It was a good rework. I like the rework, Anakin. I think it's fine. Why would you touch up a character just to completely undo it? Just let the people get used to it. And again, once we get 7-star Maliks, we're gonna have to go back to the drawing board with whatever we're using now. I don't personally have any on my shard yet. I'm sure it's coming soon, but I think he's fine. He's got another question, DSP. Can we please get a Wookiee tag? Some Wookiee synergy. What do you guys think about that?
That'd be pretty cool. I wouldn't mind a Wookiee tag. I mean, there's only like 2 Wookiees in the game. There's Chewie, and there's 3 different versions of Chewie, and no, there's 4 different versions of Chewie, and there's Zalbar. So it'd be kind of cool to get the Wookiee tag, but I think they'd have to add some more Wookiees. I mean, there's no real named Wookiees besides Chewie and Zalbar that I can think of. But they could add Wookiees from the Clone Wars into the game, and then make a real Wookiee team if they decided to add like a Wookiee General or something like that, or Wookiee Soldier, or a generic character. But they haven't really added many generics in a long time, right? When was the last time that we got a generic? Okay, besides a Stormtrooper or something like that. Like, when was the last time we got like a generic character? Like a rebel pilot, or
probably with that First Order release with the last movie, Executioner and Special Forces. I don't think we've really gotten one since then.
But those were troopers. I'm saying there's always going to be, like the troopers are big sellers for them, because troopers are, people love stormtroopers. And new different versions of stormtroopers, different variations. Magma Trooper, Flame Trooper, Scout Trooper. That's one thing. But I'm saying there hasn't been a generic rebel character or a generic mob enforcer or anything like that in the game.
B1 and Droideka. Most Mike says.
B1 and Droideka, though, those are not really generic.
I know what you mean, though.
I guess those are generics. I guess, but I mean, those are droids. I mean, those are different versions of droids. I would expect them to get those are wanted characters. I've been wondering when we're going to get Rebel Pilot, right? Because pilots in this game do a ton of damage. They always have. Okay, Resistance Pilot, First Order TIE Pilot. When are we going to get Rebel Pilot, or just straight up Rebel Officer or Rebel? I mean, we haven't gotten anything like that. Besides, I mean, let's take a look here.
Background characters, the common background people.
I wouldn't mind getting
Resistance
those commanders that we fight in Darkside territory battles. The one they're just spamming turn meter and buffs everywhere. And
oh God, yeah, that would be
cool. B-wing fighter generics don't make them money unless they're OP. Yes, that is true. But
this would be for free. Just a throwaway character in Galactic. Galactic.
It'd be like a filler. It'd be a fifth filler. So kind of like in a sense, sort of like Stormtrooper Han, but without the Han part. as a stormtrooper or something that has some decent abilities, basic abilities that you can kind of fill in as a fifth. That way you can use your fifth character for another team, and so on and so on. That's what I think.
Yeah, trying to think. Yeah, Scarif Rebel Pathfinder maybe was one of the last ones. That was a long time ago. That came out with Rogue One. I mean, that was a long time ago.
Yep.
Scout Trooper with big damage, maybe.
Scout Trooper should be in this game.
He's in the game enough. I mean, you fight him all the time. I mean, that would make sense.
Yeah.
Nathaniel Morgan asks, do you know if they changed the under the hood numbers on JKA? Damage multipliers on abilities, etc.? I don't think so. They said long ago, whether it be a forum post or maybe it was on like one of the podcasts, I don't remember, but they said that it's very, very difficult to change.
I think we lost Maurice.
I'm here.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you kind of logged out from me there for a second. You said it's very difficult to change what?
Yeah, at some point, the forum post or a podcast long ago, they said it's very difficult to change the stats of a character. That's why when they rework or nerf a character, it has to do with their abilities themselves and how the abilities interact. Outside of what you mentioned earlier, Poe, I can't ever think of a case where they change the core stats of a character outside of maybe some gear, like going up to the next gear level. They can tweak a character with the gear, but I'm not sure they've ever really gone back in and changed that aspect of it. I could be wrong, but I don't think so. I don't think they changed it. It's just Anakin looks like he hits so hard when you're facing Darth Revan because of those stacks of ferocity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they haven't changed his base stats. Definitely no. I think that they wouldn't do that. Like Maurice said a long time ago, they said it's very difficult to do that, and I think that the first thing they would do is just kind of alter the wordage or the verbiage on his abilities so that it would stack more offense. Have they done so in the past? I mean, maybe with other characters. Maybe they've done like stealth increases to characters, and we didn't really know. I know that they've mentioned in reworks for characters that they gave him a boost in damage, and I don't know what that means. Like if they just straight up affected, reworked the numbers for the character, or if they just kind of boosted the percentage, because it's very vague the way they describe it. So it's not out of the realm of possibility, but I think it's not likely.
Yeah. Just had a question come in from, I believe it was DSP. Let me look again. Close the page. Yeah, DSP asked, will there be a revolt if Padme comes in and it's not midriff Padme?
Well, what is it that people keep talking about midriff Padme? I mean, honestly, it's
midriff Padme is the one from the Geonosian. The Geonosian fight, right? Like when they were in the.
Okay, so is it a guy thing? I guess I'm assuming it's a guy thing.
It has to be a guy thing because she does. Listen. I mean, just like when Leia was wearing her slave costume. Okay, there's this thing about Padme when she was wearing that white outfit in the Geonosian fight in the pits, okay? And, when she had those, slashes on the back. Listen, Natalie Portman is super attractive, okay? So, in that white, tight outfit, she's even more attractive, okay? So, I have no problems with midriff Padme making her way into the game. And if they do release Padme into the game, it should be in that outfit. That's probably the most iconic outfit that she has. So... other than, if you decide to release her with one of those crazy headwig outfits that she had when she was in the Senate, where she's got the face paint and
oh God, I hate that.
And where she looks like a geisha, I
Looks
hope
like
that, you know.
Yeah, no, I hope not on that
you
one.
know what I'm talking about, right? It looks like she looks like almost like a geisha, but like she has like some. You know, I would rather her in the midriff outfit. I mean, that would be more like a battle ready kind of outfit for her, and I think that's. I think she's definitely coming. She's too important to not be in this game, and that's probably the outfit they're going to put her in my opinion. I don't think they would do it any other way. I don't think we'll ever see Slave Leia in the game, although that brings a little bit of a tear to my eye. I think that we will see midriff Padme, and I think that we're going to get another version of Leia, though. I think Endor Leia is on the way. Mark my words. Endor Leia.
I think there needs to be something for the gals here. There needs to be something. How about a midriff Windu or something like that?
Listen,
does midriff Windu come with a Kangol cap?
Listen, you guys got.
I honestly tried to say it with a straight face, and I couldn't do it.
Midriff
Sorry.
Look, you guys got Darth Maul.
Speedo Lando, that's a good one. Piano. Speedo with Lando. Oh yes. Well, only certain guys can wear speedos. I'll tell you that right now.
You're talking about like
you got Darth Malik in tights. Look at those arms. You know, look at that chest. Okay. Look at that butt.
It's not bad, but I need to see a little more. You know, if you're talking about midriff Padme, I need to see a little more skin. Okay,
I could support
for the female aspect of the players.
You got muscular characters. Look at that six pack on Darth Sion.
He's got too flat of a butt. Though. I mean,
Darth Sion. Yeah, you know it's.
Malik there has like his butt's not. You know.
Look at that sick. Sion's got like an 18 pack.
I
he's so ugly. He's attractive.
Speedo Lando, as long as it's like modern day Billy D, I could support that.
Oh God, not shirtless Kylo. That when I was in the theater and I first saw that, I laughed my head off when I first saw it. And my husband looked at me and says, "What are you laughing at?" And I said, "Nobody wants to see a shirtless Kylo."
I know. Maurice has got a thing for face paint. His girl's Mother Talzin. You know, look at those legs.
Mm-hmm.
You can see under the robe. You can see under the robes.
Yeah, but her face paint is cool. Amidala's is like, no, but you know, if you have like the Amidala character, she could be a good leader for, in a sense, for something. But what the heck is that? Oh, we got. Oh, kitties fighting! Oh my goodness!
That means somebody has subscribed to the channel.
Okay. Interesting, but yeah, we need some. You know, we said muscles don't always do it for gals. That's just it. We need something for the gals.
That doesn't include muscles.
It depends. Depends. I mean, if you got a nice formed little round tushy, you know, that does it too, so.
Jesus.
You heard it here first, guys. Quit going to the gym. Quit going to the gym every day. It's doing you no good. You know, just continue to eat double cheeseburgers from McDonald's to get that rump nice and plump.
That's my girl right there, Ahsoka Tano. Those tentacles on her head just get me going.
Yeah, these are all fictional animated characters. I'm not. You guys make me a little uncomfortable here.
Maurice, okay, you're from the Carolinas, okay? You know, you've seen a lot of crazier things than people being excited over a couple of tentacles on a Twi'lek's head. I've been getting an insane amount of shards. Have you guys been getting a ton of shards from these Bronzium packs? I've been getting shards every single time. I don't even get gear anymore. I feel like every time I go pull a Bronzium, I get shards. And
I've been getting shards. Yeah, I've actually in the last week I've probably gotten 4 or 5 actual 10 shards once converted to 10 shards.
In the last week, I've gotten a full unlock of IG-86 5s, so that was 50 shards for 5s. I got I've gotten shards. I mean, literally almost every time. I don't know if anybody else is noticing this, but there's been a huge increase in shards for me lately from these Bronzium packs. And I'm not complaining. It's all shard shop food, but it's cool. It's cool. Any more questions, Maurice?
That will do it.
Okay. All right. Bastila twins are bae. Yes, Bastila twins. Bastila is probably one of the more attractive girls in the Star Wars lore. Ayla is also bae. Yes, I do. My girl is Ahsoka if I had to pick one. But if we're talking about non-humans here, okay, I do like me some Natalie Portman and some old school Carrie Fisher for sure. But other than that, we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up here, guys. One day we will have the best dressed challenge here on the live stream. We'll talk about the best looking characters in the game. We'll do some fun top 5 like that. Ahsoka's like 15. No way, Nathaniel Moore. Get out. You're talking about little Ahsoka. Okay, no, I'm talking about Ahsoka full growth, Ahsoka Fulcrum. Okay, all right. And Ahsoka,
zombie takes a beating. It keeps on coming. Oh man.
Listen, Nathaniel Morgan, okay, in Star Wars, all right, 15 is totally an acceptable age, okay? This is not, we're not talking about New York state law here, okay? But no, I like the older Ahsoka. Anyway, we're gonna go ahead and call it a stream here. I appreciate everybody staying. Stormforge is a bad man, yeah. We're going to go ahead and wrap it up. I hope everybody had a happy holiday and a happy Easter, a happy Passover, and we will resume with the Alliance Live show next Sunday. Same place. Definitely make sure to check out Maurice and TMoney stream on Tuesday night on the Operation Metaverse channel. Link is in the description. Definitely make sure to check out Ranger's stream on Wednesday night on the Reality Skewed Gamers channel. Link is also in the description. We appreciate all the love and support, and we look forward to putting out some more content. Hopefully some news comes out over the next couple of days about what's going on with Anakin and the Sith Assassin refund or whatever is going to happen with that. And as soon as we get some more data on that, we will definitely make sure to pass it along. But hope everybody enjoyed the stream. We will definitely be back for the next one. And may the Force be with you guys. We'll see you then. Good night.